Everyone, and welcome back to TradeStars Cricket Diaries by Cricket Cult. I'm Lakshya Malhotra and I have with me, as usual, Siddharth Luthra. And I think, judging by the smile on his face, we all can guess that why cricketing fans all over the world are happy, because finally we've heard that the IPL will continue in September. But before that, we have a very important test match coming up between England and New Zealand tomorrow. And I think that's going to be an amazing encounter because everyone's going to be watching that, including the Indian fans. What do you think about that, Siddharth?
Yes, Lakshay, I feel like for cricket fans, it's June Aaye, Durust Aaye. After the lull in May, we have plenty of cricket and we have plenty of good news in cricket. The IPL has finally been permanently scheduled. So we know that there is going to be an IPL winner in 2021. Then the World Test Championship, something we in India are highly anticipating, which is also what makes this series very interesting for us Indians, because New Zealand is going to play India in the same conditions. So it all the more reason we have to keep an eye out for England versus New Zealand. The first test match, as we all know, is starting tomorrow at Lord's. Lakshay, it looks all exciting again.
Yeah, I think definitely all the Indian fans will be watching their TV and seeing what is coming up for them in the finals of the World Test Championship. And the agenda for today is to review the England versus New Zealand series, and we'll be talking about the probable 11 and what we think are important players from the series to watch out for. So we'll start with the probable 11 and of what we think would be the 11 that we'll be playing tomorrow and why we think so. I think we'll start with the host first, England. The problem with identifying the 11 with England is that they have this rotation policy and you don't really know who is going to play, plus with the entire IPL scenario. So that also brings a little bit of doubt. Sid, what do you think would be the probable 11 for England?
So I feel like you'll see a new look England team because obviously lots of their first 11 members are not there. So the likes of Joss Buttler, the likes of Jofra Archer, who's injured, Ben Stokes, Sam Curran is not there, Chris Wokes is not there. So there aren't many all-rounders in this team, something which has been a saving grace for England, their lower order batting. So this is where I feel like their balance will struggle a little bit. But after their horrid tour of England, their openers, Rory Burns and Dom Sibley, will be happy coming back playing in home conditions where they provide immense value to their team. They're patient players, and that suits English conditions, which are anyways seem friendly in the first half. So June, the conditions will be a little bit wet. That brings the New Zealand seamers into the mix also. So Rory Burns, Dom Sibley, then the very exciting Zach Crawley, who hit a wonderful 50 in India, but then couldn't carry on his form. Actually, no one in the England team could. At number 4, you obviously have their rock, Joe Root. At number 5, you got Ian Bell Jr. in Ollie Pope. At number 6, Dan Lawrence, who was very, very impressive and actually proved to be an asset even in Asian conditions, even in subcontinental conditions. So his long stride is something I'm waiting to, look at. And then I'm a little bit confused for their wicketkeeper option, because Ben Foakes is also injured, who was their established wicketkeeper in the absence of Joss Buttler and Johnny Bairstow. They did have James Bracey, who's a top order batsman, and a wicket-keeping option in the team. But then I don't know if he can bat at number 7. So it's a Sam Billings / James Bracey for me. Bowling attack, you obviously have James Anderson, Stuart Broad, Mark Wood will definitely play. And for that one position, I would either have Craig Overton, who can bat a bit, or Jack Leach, depending on the pitch. If they think that it's green and it's wet and there is no point playing a spinner where Joe Root can come and roll his arm over, then that will happen, and I feel like Craig Overton would play. But if they do want to go with the left arm spinner, then they'll obviously go with Jack Leach.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of chopping and changing in the England side, and they're going to have to look at a couple of factors and the county performances from their players to see what their best playing 11 would be. I think on the other hand, New Zealand is a team that's sort of got their balance and got that foundation laid out for what their team should be. And I think for the New Zealand side, the probable 11 would be both the Toms would be opening for them. I think Latham has done a really good job for New Zealand, and they would hope that he would continue to add the value that he adds to the team at the top of the order. I think then obviously at 3 you're going to have Mr. Dependable, like the leading run scorer for New Zealand in the World Test Championship, Kane Williamson, currently the number 1 batsman in Test cricket. Followed by, I think, there comes their experience, Ross Taylor, someone who can hold the innings together in the middle order. And then comes the 2 exciting players in Henry Nicholls and BJ Watling. I think I'm really looking forward to both of them because they've been really important players for New Zealand against West Indies and against Pakistan. Both of them have scored good amount of runs. So I think that would be the middle order. Followed by, I think they play Mitchell Santner. They'll be looking to play a spinner, and I think he's done really well to prove his worth in the team. And they would continue to back him. But like you said, if they don't want to play a spinner and it's a pitch where the ball is really moving, they might go with Colin de Granholm as like their all-rounder and extra batting option, right-handed batting option. So that might be a little either Santner or Colin de Granholm. Then I think they'll have Kyle Jamieson, followed by their pacers in Tim Southee, Matt Henry and Neil Wagner. I think definitely they'll miss Trent Boult. And that's going to be a loss for them. But I think their bowling has established that they are really consistent and really good, and I think they're going to do their job. So according to me, I think this would be New Zealand's like best or probable 11 for the match tomorrow. And I think so. Given that this contest is like set up so well in terms of these amazing players, there are going to be some players that are going to stand out, or they're going to be those TradeStar watch lists that we have created, or that we like players out there would look to, fans out there would look to create. So, Sid, what do you think would be your players to watch out for in your TradeStars watch list for this series?
So I'm going to go England. Okay, I'm going to pick 3 TradeStars to watch out for from England. One is definitely Ollie Pope. He's there is a lot of debate if Babar Azam has the most beautiful cover drive or Virat Kohli. I think hands down, Ollie Pope has the most wonderful and eye-catching cover drive in the world right now, and that is my opinion. Then the very very exciting Zach Crawley at number 3 is another player to watch out for. He, his century against Pakistan last summer was something to behold. Wow, I think it was a double century, but what an innings. Even that 50 that he scored in Ahmedabad, if I'm not wrong, or Chennai, I think it was stroke filled and it was wonderful. England was going so well, and Akshar Patel just had his number, and to be honest, those pitches were very difficult even for the best of batsmen. I mean, Joe Root picked a 5-for, so even Indian batsmen struggled. I won't count that too much. But yeah, Zach Crawley. And the third one is definitely Dan Lawrence for me. Dan Lawrence, he impressed even in India. In those difficult conditions that we spoke about, he impressed there, and he's definitely a TradeStar to watch out for in the future. Lakshay. Yeah, what about New Zealand? Who are your 3 TradeStars from New Zealand to watch out for?
I think New Zealand has been a side that's been dominating other teams with their bowling lineup. And so my TradeStars or players to watch out for are going to have their bowlers. And I'll start with Kyle Jamieson, because I think he's been such a phenomenal player for New Zealand. He's just played 6 matches, but he's taken 36 wickets, an average of 20. I think he is such an important player for them. Obviously, we know that he's a big unit, and therefore he gets that extra bounce and gets that awkward length, and that's why he gets those wickets. But I think he's a really valuable asset to the side, and we've seen that when he picked up 11 wickets, against Pakistan, and when he went even in the West Indies tour, he did really well. So I think that Kyle Jamieson would be number 1 for me in players to watch out for New Zealand, because I think his stock has exponentially risen over the past few matches and over the past few months. I think the second player that I'm going to pick is going to be their strength in the middle order, and that's going to be Henry Nicholls. I think he's a very exciting player. There's something about left-handed batsmen and the way they play their shots that you just want to sit and watch. He's been that one player that has always given them that support when like they've lost wickets early at the top of the order. Obviously, Kane Williamson is their rock and foundation. But apart from that, who holds the middle order together? I think that's Henry Nicholls. And I think people will be dying to buy his stock and invest in him because they think that he is going to like go out there and perform. And I think he's going to do really well. I think now for my third player, coming back to their bowling, I think I'm going to go with Tim Southee. I feel that Tim Southee is being their most experienced bowler. I think he's someone, there's a reason why he's the leading wicket taker for them in the Test Championship. And that reason is that experience. I think that the experience that he brings to the side is necessarily going to be the deciding factor against big sides such as England and India when they play England now in the final against India, because at that point of time, like you're going to be bowling into experienced batsmen like Kohli and Root, and then that years of experience and that perfect line to ball and that mentality is going to be the differentiating factor in how you get them out. So I'm going to go with Tim Southee. I think his value is going to increase, and he's a very important asset for New Zealand. He brings that experience. So he'll be my third player to watch out for in my TradeStars watch list for New Zealand. And I think all of these players are so exciting. But so let's imagine this. Let's say that you are Joe Root and you're on the TradeStars fantasy app, right? And you had to make a trade, and if you had to like give off one of your player and pick or invest a player from the New Zealand side, who would be that one player that you would trade from New Zealand for the one player from your side?
There is, you spoke about TradeStars. There is no other fantasy platform which will offer you this. So that's a very, that's a very interesting scenario. So if I was Joe Root, first thing I would be doing is going and visiting the TradeStars app. And then if there is one fantasy stock that I would want to trade from my team, with a New Zealand fantasy stock, it would be, I will have Tom Latham come and open for me instead of Rory Burns, because I just feel like Burns, he's a great player, but he sometimes gets himself into a tangle, and I just feel that Tom Latham is that both, and it's a left-hander for left-hander swap, so it will just like England's top three has been their problem, but I feel that this would go a long way in solving that problem if they had someone as solid as Tom Latham open. But if you were, let me ask you, if you were Kane Williamson and you had to go to the TradeStars platform and trade a player from your team for an English stock, fantasy stock, who would that be?
I think if I was Kane Williamson, I would be very happy with my team because my team is in the finals and we've been doing really well. But if I had to pick a player, I think that remembering the fact that these are going to be pitches that are going to swing and bowlers might dominate here, I'm going to pick one of the more experienced bowlers in England, and I'm going to go with Stuart Broad. I think that New Zealand have their bowling lineup sorted, but I think that if they can replace Matt Henry with Stuart Broad, I think that bowling lineup would be unplayable, because remember that they're playing with the Duke's ball now and not the Kookaburra, so it's going to swing and hold even more. And I think that given that the ball is going to be the Duke's ball and the pitches are going to swing a lot, Stuart Broad would be a very valuable asset for the New Zealand side. So if I'm Kane Williamson, I'm going on TradeStars right now and I'm going to make that trade and pick Stuart Broad for Matt Henry. Definitely. But
makes a lot of sense. With the Duke's ball, it does make a lot of sense, because Stuart Broad, him and Jimmy Anderson, they're the king. They're basically the kings of the Dukes. because they're like, I don't think anyone has picked up as many wickets as them with the Duke's ball. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Lakshay.
Yeah, definitely. Stuart Broad has been performing really well in the World Test Championship and been picking up almost 70 wickets, I think, if I'm not wrong. So he would be a valuable asset for England, and he would be a really good investment on TradeStars. But so that's it from us, guys, today in the preview for England versus New Zealand and our TradeStars watch list. I hope all of you head out to the TradeStars app and make your own investments and make your own trades. Keep following Cricket Cult for more such videos and episodes, and we'll see you in the next episode. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Take care, all of you, and enjoy the first test match. Goodbye from me and goodbye from Sid.
Bye, folks.